In this video, we want to evaluate sine for 9 pi over 4. So the first thing that we need to do is find the reference angle of 9 pi over 4. To do that, I'm going to actually convert 9 pi over 4 to degrees, and that will be a little bit easier for me to find what the actual reference angle is. So to convert radians to degrees, we have to multiply it by 180 over pi, which is going to equal 1620 over 4. Okay, the pi's cancel out right there, and then 1620 over 4 reduces to be 405 degrees. Okay, so now once we have my angle, then I want to actually draw the angle of rotation to help me find the reference angle. So drawing the angle of rotation for 405, we start off at the initial side right there. Okay, it's more than 360, so we're going to have to rotate a full 360. And then we don't want to go all the way to the y-axis, so we keep going just a little bit to represent 405 degrees. Okay, this up here would have been 450 degrees, so we didn't want to go that far. This is 405 degrees. So now we want to get our reference angle, which is always from the x-axis right here to the terminal side, or from the terminal side down to the closest x-axis. So that's going to be our reference angle. 405 minus, this is going to be 360. That gives us 45 degrees. So that's our reference angle. Now we want to find sine of 45 degrees. So we know that we're going to have to use a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. Okay, so that's 45. This is 45. Across from those angles is always 1, and then across from the square, across from the 90 degrees is the square root of 2. So now sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite of 45 is 1. And then the hypotenuse that we're working with there is the square root of 2. So that's how you set up sine of 45. But can't have any radicals in the denominator, so you want to multiply it by the square root of 2 on bottom, and then multiply the top part by the square root of 2. That means we're left with the square root of 2 on top. And then the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. But that equals just 2. So we're left with the square root of 2 over 2. Now that's sine of 45. In our original question, we wanted to find the sine of 9 pi over 4. And remember, 9 pi over 4 was 405. So if we want to find that value, we can plug in this value of 2. The square root of 2 over 2. That will work. That's what I'll do right now. 9 pi over 4, that's going to equal the square root of 2 over 2, but we need to figure out if this is going to be positive or negative. We pull up our cosine of theta, comma, sine of theta, a little like formula, I guess you could call it. Cosine of theta is going to be referring to our x, sine of theta is going to be referring to our y. So our terminal side of this situation is going to be in our first quadrant. So we ask ourselves, is y, because we're dealing with sine, and that matches up with our y value. So is our y value going to be positive or negative in the first quadrant? In this case, it's always going to be positive in our first quadrant. Y is always positive there. So we could keep this as positive, and that's going to be our final answer for sine of 9 pi over 4.